Thank you so much, Christiane, and thank you everyone for having us here. I will not claim to present the whole ecosystem after stepping in after Steve, no way. But I am here on behalf of the team that works with the Climate Ecological Observatory for Arctic Tundra, which is a part of the land module in SIOS. And our report chapter is summarizing the status of where we are at the moment and what are the first findings of utilizing the time series that we can now put together for this observatory. What we are focusing on is the biosphere. We have the so-called simple food web of the Arctic tundra here with mainly plant-eating animals, the geese species, the ptarmigan, and the reindeer, and then we have the plants where we have hundreds of species, hundreds and hundreds of mosses, and of course the insects living inside there. We have the soil underneath, the permafrost. We have a climate monitoring network now in place where we are proud to say that there's 8 automatic full-scale weather stations that did not exist for a few years ago. Now we are up in the heights and a bit covering important climatic gradients. So we are now in a place where we can combine these time series for the animals. Some of them reach down to they're 40 years long. So we can actually start to understand how the climatic changes are affecting the animal populations and the plants. We're seeing that, for instance, the reindeer populations are in the coastal areas. They have gone down or stabilized at a lower level, mainly because of climatic reasons. The very wet, very mild, very icy winters that we're having these days are not good for these animals. But we're also seeing that the inland valleys here support a stable or increasing population of reindeer, where they obviously have enough food, and although we have massive icing of the tundra in the wintertime, as many of you have observed, they can still cope with it. The ptarmigan are coping well, the geese are coping well, their populations are still stable or increasing. There are articles saying that Svalbard is greening, that the plants are getting more and greener, but it all depends on which metric you are using. It's not uniform, and we have to be in many places, which is why we have established field monitoring stations in almost 60 areas, and we utilize drones and satellites to look at the whole Svalbard scale as well. So it's very important that we are doing this kind of work now, and the likes of Steve and the others who are studying the biosphere and the climate and the cryosphere together. When I first arrived from the boreal forest where I grew up, I was used to the forest smell being pine needles. Now they say, and we record from the weather stations, that Svalbard is warm enough to be able to maintain trees. Now it will surely take a while before there's trees here, but it's warm enough. When I first arrived for plus 20 some years ago, it smelled cold. The frozen smell of the cold soil is quite particular. And the last couple of years, we have not smelled that. Those of you who have been here in the summers, it's not smelling cold frozen soil anymore. It smells some climate gases, which names I don't really necessarily know, and it's bubbling when you're walking in the wetlands. You don't stop in the active layer on the ice anymore. You sink. So it's really changing very, very quickly. And the weather stations and the permafrost stations that our observatory also contains have documented record after record. So now we are in the place where we are starting to analyze all these so-called simple food web interactions in quite complex models and analyze statistically. And hopefully we're able to provide also forecasts for predicted outcomes of these ecosystem linkages in some years from now. Same way we're doing weather forecasts. So hopefully we're there in some years from now when we come here the next time.